back to the program, a good friend of the program, Brad Travares. Brad, how are you?
What up, fellas?
A media day, and you just went and got a haircut, huh?
Yeah, I just came from my haircut. I'm actually headed home right now. Gonna hop in the shower, get changed, and then I gotta head over to the Apex and knock out the rest of the media, the photo shoot, the green screen filming, and all of that jazz.
Did you get a nice fade on your haircut?
Oh, you know that.
Yeah,
always
I know
fresh. Shout out to my barber, Isaiah.
Isaiah.
So Brad, why would you keep the hair there just in case you got to cut it on the scale later in the week?
Bro, I could shave my head skin bald and maybe get a couple ounces, but no way I'm getting half a pound or whatever it was.
Well, I don't know if you learned the biggest thing watching that weigh-in, that if you exhale, you're going to lose a half a pound.
You know what? She's onto something because I try to exhale every time. You guys watch me weigh in. Pay attention to all my weigh-ins. I do try and exhale, and I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but I make weight every time.
Yep.
But so that could be the thing, the exhale.
It certainly sounds it. Now, let me ask you the same thing we asked Rose. Rose fought in her adopted hometown of Denver over the weekend. And all of you fighters, all of the athletes are like, yeah, I want to fight at home. It's great to fight at home. But is it also a lot more pressure to fight at home?
I don't think so. The reason why I really appreciate fighting in Vegas is because, as you guys know, I'm from Hawaii. And I don't think we'll ever see a UFC Hawaii in my career anyway. Maybe, hopefully, somewhere down the line. So being that Vegas is the ninth island, that's the adopted term of Las Vegas, is the ninth island because there's so many Hawaii natives here, Hawaiian culture here, food, etc., music, that this is the closest that we get to a UFC Hawaii. So it is a blessing for me every time I'm able to fight in the ninth island. The closest we're going to get to UFC Hawaii.
Why do you think the UFC hasn't gone there? Is it, they don't have the stadium or the arena? They don't have ticket sales? Why do you think it's not going out there?
You know what? It just boils down to money and cost, and at the end of the day, because before I used to think that's what it was. Oh, they can't do it because there's no, they would have to do it at Aloha Stadium, which is an open stadium, which it rains a lot in Hawaii. So if it rained, they would have to deal with that. But then they would go ahead and go all the way down to Brazil and do shows in looks like what is a gymnasium, small little place, all the way down to Brazil. So I'm like, well, if they can go do that in Brazil, Hawaii's closer than Brazil, they could do it there. And then a couple years ago, when Max made that last push to get them there, he got involved with the HTA, Hawaii Traveling Authority or something. I don't really know their name, but then it really just boiled down to the numbers. It just boiled down to the money, and what I didn't realize is that I guess the state. So, for instance, when the Pro Bowl goes to Hawaii or used to go to Hawaii, the state would pay the Pro Bowl to come there, right? The state would pay X amount of dollars, hey, we're going to give you this amount of money to hold this event here because it brings in all the revenue, But then again, Pro Bowl is a week long. The Pro Bowl is one day, but they have activities all week long. And then you got to look at the athletes. The NFL guys make a lot more money than fighters do. So, at the end of their season, they can come out, they can enjoy and spend money and buy things, and that's just not realistic for fighters. So I think it's just because of that. I don't know if it'll ever work out.
I mean, I think if you have a shot at it, I'd say if BJ Penn becomes governor, I think you could probably have an event in Hawaii and maybe do it in a volcano that's not very active, or
BJ's backyard.
Or BJ's backyard.
100%. I mean, look, the Bellator came and throws shows all the time at the Blaisdell, so that was actually a good sign of, well, hopefully we'll see it. But yeah, like I said, I don't think it'll be realistic in my career.
Do you think it's the cost, for the fighters to bring their team and bring, family, or the cost for fans to fly over there? Because I would think that fans would, whether we fly to Brazil or we fly to England, I mean, dollars are dollars.
Yeah, I don't think that's it at all. I just think that the cost of what the UFC wants from the state, because I remember when, like I said, that last push, they had it in articles and whatnot, and the UFC, they're like, hey, look, you guys are giving the NFL X amount of dollars, like we want this amount of dollars. Globally, we're a bigger sport, which is true, but right here in America, the NFL is a much bigger organization, just so much bigger and revenue-wise too than the UFC is.
Brad, your last fight was really emotional with the fires in Hawaii. How have things gotten better in Hawaii for you and your family? I know your wife's father was doing a lot of work out there in Maui. Are things settling down and people are coming back?
Yeah. So as far as for everybody not directly affected, things are starting to normalize. But for the people that were directly affected, it's still a struggle. They're still struggling out there. It's like I said, I think we talked about it the last time. This is something that's going to be years, like decade or so to recover from, just because of the devastation and just Hawaii in general. Like the cost of living there, it's really sad. It's so expensive. It's like forcing the locals out, it's forcing the natives out of their own land, which is very sad.
Well, let's talk about Saturday night. What do you think your opponent's bringing to the table that you haven't seen before in your career, which is probably nothing?
Yeah, I've been at this a long time, and as far as something different he brings, I don't think he's bringing anything I haven't seen. That being said, I don't want it to seem like I'm overlooking the guy, because I definitely am not. He is where he is for a reason. He got this fight for a reason. I got this fight for a reason. So definitely not overlooking him. But as far as as far as what he brings to the table, I feel like I have seen it all before. I've fought, in my opinion, better grapplers than him. I've fought better wrestlers than him and better strikers than him. Park is really tough and durable. And he actually is really good at putting it all together, so he's a pretty well-rounded MMA fighter. But, yeah, as far as anything new that he brings to the table, I don't really see that.
What do you think has been the biggest change? You have been in this a long time. What's the biggest thing that you've noticed, whether it's, nutrition, whether it's the media, whether it's, now that there's Topps or Panini or whatever, card companies. So what would be the first thing that comes to mind that's been the biggest difference?
The most obvious one, I would say, from start of my career to now, the biggest difference would be the sponsorship thing. Like when I first started, you could get sponsors all over your shorts, your shirt, your hat, banners, all of that. And then Reebok came along back in, 2015, that went away. Oh, it's going on 10 years already.
Yep.
So yeah, I would say that's been the biggest change, because and then secondly to that would probably be, or right up there with that would probably be them building the UFC PI. That thing has actually been a real big game changer, to have everything in-house under one roof and completely free to the athlete. That's amazing,
I always hate when they forget to do the media event out there at the PI, because they'd have a couple events there, and that food's pretty good.
So yeah, they got the up and come, like I always say this, the new guys coming up that take advantage of the PI, they're so spoiled. You could be a young struggling fighter, and just if you happen to be in Vegas or make the move out to Vegas, and now you can get meals completely free, nutrition completely free, therapy completely free. There's so much for them. So these young up-and-coming guys, if they do decide to take advantage of it, they're spoiled.
Yeah. Does it surprise you, Brad, that more don't? I understand if you have a family and you're doing other things and you may have a job or whatever, but if you don't and you're up-and-coming and you're in the UFC and you can take advantage of all of that, are you not surprised that more don't?
Yes and no. For me, for instance, they built the UFC PI in New York. If I was already established in Vegas, I got my coaches, I got my team, I got everything I need right here in Vegas. I can't see myself up and moving to New York just because of the PI. You know, like, granted, it is a real advantage to have, and I'm just lucky and blessed that I do live in Vegas and it is here in Vegas. But I can't see myself changing everything to do it. So I'm not. It's not a real big surprise.
I understand that, and if I was to do it to New York, I would have to live at the PI as well. I never want to leave the building and go into New York.
You know, you make a great point.
Yeah, well, you know what is funny is that the guys that do come out here, they do end up just living there. You know, they're there all day, which is smart on them because, like I said, the facility is nice and you just get all of these things for free.
You know, the point you made about the PI being there and the younger guys should take more advantage of it, it reminds me of when Mike Swick opened up AKA in Thailand in Phuket. And a lot of people would go to Thailand to train because it's cheaper to live there. They have dorms there, they can train, they can eat clean. And it's one place you can go and be a professional fighter where you don't have to work that full-time job if you're not already established. You can do that. So I can understand how if somebody were in Vegas, they could take advantage of the PI much the same way they did AKA in Thailand.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, like, maybe the example I gave from it being in New York is so different because, thinking broad spectrum cost of living, and just the place that New York is, so hustle and bustle. Yeah, it's not like that here. It's like Vegas is really affordable. So outside of the PI, I still think, you know, rent and stuff is affordable. Maybe not as cheap as Thailand, but it's affordable.
Right.
So Brad, going back to the sponsorship and how big of a deal that is, I know you had local ties to Tampa with the Truck Horn Company. You know, obviously this past weekend, the Trump train is picking up steam. I don't know if they've had any redemption or, you know, new horns coming out. Maybe it could just be Trump yelling "fight, fight, fight" when you blast the horn on the street on your YouTube channel. But are you still with them? And how do people get involved with the truck horn and the lifted truck scene?
To get involved with it, man, get yourself a truck and lift it, and don't be getting a Tesla truck and calling that a truck. I'm sure it's an amazing vehicle, but that is not a truck.
Now, what about a Jeep Gladiator? Like, where do I fall in that category? Am I a real truck owner?
Jeep Gladiator, you can make those look super dope. Throw a lift kit on there. And Jeeps, because where their tires sit, they're so, like, outside, man, you can throw huge wheels and tires on that thing.
Well, let us let you go. I know that you got to go get prepared to get over there to the Apex and talk to the rest of the media, but thanks for getting the good one out of the way early. Thanks for your time. Have fun the next couple days, and enjoy Christmas on Saturday when you get back in the Octagon.
Thank you guys for having me.
And as always, we've got your address. We're going to send you the care package again from 8 Man Strong and Bucked Up Energy Drink.
And tell Isaiah you got new customers when we come out to Vegas.
One feed. Much appreciated, guys. You guys have a good one.
Take care. Brad Travares back in the Octagon on Saturday. All right, let's go hit a quick break. When we come back, we continue with Victory Wednesday.
Hello again.